Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I think my headphones are jacked up here. Hold on. Okay. Asian Trader. Good morning, Seth. Can you give me the name of the robot that reads your live YouTube comments, please? Sure. Well, I wrote it and I put it up on GitHub. And now I have to warn you, it is not at this moment, super, how do we say, it's super user-friendly thing. Hold on, where did it go? Access, finance bot, no. There it is. So if you're familiar with Node, then you should be able to take the code and modify it to what you need. Because right now it's like hard coded to go to my channel and all of these things. So you would definitely have to modify it. But today I might have a chance to make an update that will give some configuration and help fix some of those things. But you know, Node's not too complicated, so you probably figure it out. But that's how it works. So yeah, we're having I don't know what the deal is, but like I'm feeling pretty good this morning, and I got ready a lot faster than I normally do, and we're starting around the time that I really should be, around 6:15. So I'm super happy about that. Today, oh come on, whenever the Forex Factory calendar is not saving the settings that I want, which is really annoying. Okay, so today we have core retail sales. We are looking for a reading of spot 1 with a previous reading of 1 spot 0, and the normal retail sales being spot 2 with a previous reading of spot 7. So we're not expecting too great, but anything better than expected would certainly be positive. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, we have the preliminary University of Massachusetts consumer sentiment. We're looking for a reading of 90 spot 4. Remember that number is really important right now. There's a big question about through this huge bear market, well, not bear market, but bear swing, I guess we could call it, that we've had the past month. Did that affect consumer confidence? There's significant concern around that issue. They're looking for a reading of 90 spot 4. If it's that or higher, I would say that would be a very, very big positive for the market. Also, for inflation expectations, we're looking for a reading of 2 spot. Well, there's no expectation, but the previous reading was 2 spot 7. So that's where we at. My poor back, it just does not want to stay in at all. I need to go see a chiropractor today. What else do we got here? Oh, we need to fix a few things on YouTube. I know you guys are probably, somebody's going to come in and be like, hey, YouTube's like this, and your previous video is. Yes, I know. Let's go fix it, huh? Okay. Okay, so that was the debate edit video. And that was the 12th. Okay. Okay. I'll save that. And for today's thing, we need to change the date. It's 13th. It is, it's Friday the 13th. Oh. Did not realize. It's complaining about buffering. Only a few frames though. What have we got? I think that it just can't handle drawing all of these things in NinjaTrader. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's right. I put on their VWAP. Haven't even noticed. That's interesting. Well, anyways. Maybe later I'll make a better thumbnail for the debate video. That rabbit is making a lot of noise. Making a lot of noise tonight. Why is that chart named? Doesn't have the icon. That's a little weird. I guess we do have a little bit better liquidity. What else do we need to do here? There was something else I needed to do. Oh yeah, turn the robot on. Now, I think that today I should add some configuration first. I think the configuration is the biggest thing, is like nobody else can really use it the way that it is right now without changing hard code. So I think I should fix that. And then the second thing I should do is I should make a quick link to launch it with so that I can start it a lot faster instead of having to go in here and start it through node bash and stuff. Node mon app.js. Oops. I think it's getting close to time for a new keyboard. I keep looking for one that's like quiet, but I haven't found a good setup that I'm happy with yet. Well, here, right around the open, there are kind of suggesting that we're going to go down. It's not a huge one, but they're kind of suggesting where you can go down. Oh, I never went into the charts. We should go into the charts. Okay. Pretty big move up and then just complete collapse yesterday. They could try to extend to the downside, especially if the E-mini decides to resolve up for the week. But it's all very, very questionable, and there was a lot of news to digest yesterday, and so there's a good chance that they could go, that there could be still a lot of movement both ways, especially since we got some news coming up and all that. Well, I thought I was going to get filled there, but I guess not. There's only so much time before this happens. Yeah, I feel like swollen here in my throat, which is kind of weird. Like right here, the gland might be getting sick. It might be my wife is sick. Maybe I'm picking up what she got. Oh, and let's remove this. We don't need this. Remove. Remove. I just clicked that one. Remove. Oh, I removed the wrong column. Yep. Yes, sir. There we go. Okay. Like, I really want to try and pop my back and everything, but I should probably stop popping it so often. Wait until I can, when we're done, go upstairs, roll it out a little bit, and try and line it back out because it was good when I got out of the shower, so it's not. Oh, so do you see the link, right? That is the program, the Node program that I wrote to read out your messages. Somebody was asking about it. My plan is to clean that up really nice. I'm actually thinking about changing it to a different language. Yeah. So the next I was actually earlier I was kind of discussing what I need to do with it. I think that I need to add some, you know, move things out into some configuration options so that you have some choices in how it reads out things, and what place where you can put your own key in without so you're only modifying a configuration file instead of code. And I need to make an easy launcher for it. And then there's needs to be a queue because if two of you read out a long message longer than it takes for the robot to read, the second message will get ignored. It won't pick up a new message until it stops reading. So there needs to be a queue. But I'm thinking that I might, before I do that, um, I might look today into completely changing the language that I do it in. Because something else that I think would be really cool is what if it just doesn't pick anything up or read anything if I'm talking, So then that would mean that I would need to make like a desktop application that reads my microphone and has like you know, a compressor sort of a thing that says, okay, if you've been speaking and the volume is over X, it has to have been below the threshold for a certain amount of time before it will start reading something out again. And if I do it that way, we could even get more control over the reading. So it could be like if it's reading and it's halfway through and I want to interrupt it, you could just start talking and she would stop and wait for you to finish talking. That sort of a thing. I think that would be really cool. Um, but my intention is to program it up all nice and put it up for everybody. Mm, okay. I need to fix my window here and make sure that I've got my feeds rolling here. Got 1 minute. They've definitely pulled for it. Pretty significant pull. Metropolitan Police have announced that there is insufficient evidence to justify any further criminal investigation into Leave EU. Yeah, okay. Okay, here's the news. missed it. Yeah. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. What? Okay, so it was 0. Hmm. So this is a little interesting. Um, the number appears. Well, I shouldn't speak here. Hold on. Let me double check. Okay. I want to tell you something. Okay, so we got 0 versus an expected spot 1, but then retail sales, the big number was spot 4 versus spot 2. I see. And import prices were in line with expectations. So the number was mixed but better than expected. And remember that the first number is excluding automobiles. So automobile sales were good. Is I guess what that means, right? There was some really wild um, rushes of volume there, though, wasn't there? Okay. Okay, so at this point, I am getting a little bit of a spike, and I usually get screwed over when I try to go for more than 8, so I'm going to try and get the fill down here. Well, that was not too promising. They're actually building up. It actually is looking like they might. Oh man, come on. Okay, fine. I'll take 7. So iceberg is concerning me a little bit. They might push down. There might be an extension here. I'm not willing to risk it, but there might be an extension down to like 04 here now. Yeah, okay. So I could have gotten that one tick. Yeah, there it is, the extension. The iceberg really concerned me. Then that's why I got out. But uh, I kind of figure like 7 ticks is okay. I don't need to be greedy, and there's going to be other opportunities today, and so I didn't want to risk it coming back really hard on me. But you could kind of read, okay, it's gone back and forth there, and now we're getting a spike. What are the chances that that spike is a reversal? Mm, it was moving. It was the way it was moving. I just thought that they could extend, and if they extend, then they're going to go down towards the next target on the DOM, which was this outsized order at 04. So that's why I did that, even though I kind of saw it. Late long chasers getting hurt, says Gabe. Could be. Now the split side of this is that when you get an extension like that, there's usually going to be a pullback. So, and what did we really give up? We gave up 1, 2, 3 ticks. So, no big deal. Mohammed El Alrain, data beat on U.S. retail sales for August up zero point 0.4 versus consensus expectations of spot 2. It is consistent with the robust household sector underpinned by the solid labor market. Also highlights the decoupling from manufacturing and with that, the tradable slash non-tradable divergence. Interesting. But I think he's missing the important thing, right? Core retail sales came in at 0 versus 0 spot 1. It was worse than expected. What is core retail sales? The change in the total value of sales at the retail level, excluding automobiles. And the regular resale sales is just the change in the total volume of sales at the retail level. So that spot 4 versus spot 2, the key difference between them was automobiles. Well, the whole sequence of events, though, was incredibly interesting, wasn't it? Because, okay, so there's a big old fatty showing up here at O5 now. Do we see anything in the other ones? No, although I am detecting there's a potential second run down now, starting probably at 07. It's probably too late, actually. No, the 5-year is chopping around, so that might not actually be one that we want to mess with. Okay, they're gonna go and they're gonna trade into this big guy at 05? They sure come down to meet him quickly. Okay. Now remember, when they blow through something like that, there's usually a good chance that they're gonna test him. So we could possibly see 03 here. So you can see they're trying to tick up at 05 and somebody's holding it. So they're gonna try and flush them. You don't think that the X autos, that the main number is the number the markets are reacting to? Hmm. And the import prices was in line. Okay, there you go. Now that doesn't mean that that it's not gonna turn around, right? That's just testing the big guy that was at 05. So let's just put this here. That was an 8K buy. You know what? We should load some. Okay. Well, I suppose I should reset the DOM at the very least, huh? Okay, somebody taking a profit at O2. Prior revised higher too. Oh, really? Okay, that would probably make a big difference too. Okay, so they're really holding it now here at 01. Interesting. That guy at 05 though just got buried, didn't he? Forbes magazine talking about Andrew Yang is going to give 10 people basic universal income. Oh, yeah, man. Did you guys hear about that? That whole thing is kind of... That doesn't seem to me like that's going to help his campaign, but we'll see. 10 lucky winners get $12,000 this year. Oh, wouldn't it be great if everybody got $12,000? Oh, but I'm just thinking about it. Like, he could probably... They're making like millions of dollars, right? For their campaign. Wasn't that like kind of the investor thresholds and everything? Shouldn't he be able to give like 100 people basic universal basic income? I don't know. PM tells me ahead of his meeting with Juncker on Monday that he is cautiously optimistic about getting a Brexit deal. If he gets a Brexit deal, then he's going to look awfully good. I tell you what. Well, do we have... Where are some of our spots? Okay. So we're still kind of in this zone where there was kind of like a break on the move up. So there's certainly some possibility of falling through. I mean, in terms of targets on the downside, they're down there. Although interesting that they're really only showing this 129 even number. Well, there's 11 in the 5-year and 06 half. And I see 14 and a quarter and then 04 half in the 10. On the upside, I'm wondering, so now on the way back up, we're going to watch this 05. They're going to do it again. That move down is a little too fast. That move down is a little too fast and sketchy. A higher pullback to support res 08. Sure was a down move. I mean the thing is if we had not gotten out on the initial, which was at 07 that we got out, there was another full downswing in it. Now, interestingly enough, it did the no signal, which is one that I haven't talked about a lot because I have a really hard time seeing it. But you see how they got back up to here and then it's like no activity? Yeah, that's the no signal. You take that short. So when it gets up there and it starts pivoting, you should see an outsize like we're seeing right here, right? You should expect to see somewhere here between 03 and no, probably 06, some sort of an attempt to swing it. So now is that a reversal lower again, or is it they push higher? I don't know. This one's really hard, although it is crazy overdone. They're probably going to try and I think that is probably somebody trying to push it up. House committee asks Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and Alphabet to turn over documents in antitrust probe. Yeah, I think this keyboard is going, guys, because it keeps giving me double keys all over the place. So if you have any suggestions on mechanical keyboards that are quiet and they're only the half one, I don't need the what do we call it? The number pad. I don't need the number pad. If you have any suggestions on that, I would totally interested to know. Suppose it doesn't have to be a mechanical keyboard. I was saying I need a new keyboard. So if you have suggestions on new keyboards, I'm looking. Yeah, this is definitely a chop zone. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, when I type, it's super loud, right? So if we could get a keyboard that was completely silent, I suppose it doesn't have to be a mechanical keyboard. I would be open to something different if it was completely silent. Maybe I should look at that because I was always looking for like silent mechanical keyboard. But what if you just say it's not a mechanical keyboard, but it's silent? Then what are your choices? Maybe. I don't know. See, this is yeah. I've never heard of that. I'll look it up. See, this is the spot where I lose it for sure. Look, they're not. Look at how many little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 swings of 3 ticks or more in both directions. That is somebody churning it around. Potentially for a reversal. Oh, there you are. So, do you have any downside targets in the 10-year? Because when I look at my chart and I look at the kinds of levels that I tend to look at, it's like, well, hey, there's not much to stop us until 128.14 half, which is, a whole point away is a little bit not useful for me. So maybe if there was a closer target, that would be useful. I don't think I did. Oh, you're talking about the one that you left on the video? Let me double check that because I saw that, but I was going to sleep and I didn't have the chance to really look at it. Let's see here. Oh, or are you just talking about me laughing about saying maybe I was revenge trading yesterday and got away with it? like here's my defense, okay? I took a trade. Yeah, just you laughing about it. Okay, yeah. I took a trade, okay, and it was possibly the one of the best setups I ever saw. Okay, took 8 on it. Cool, everything's good, right? Okay, so then this news comes out that there's going to be an interim trade deal, and so I'm trying to go short, but like I was like hesitant to go along with it in the first place. So basically, I was late and ended up losing pretty much everything they had made on my first trade going long. And then I took another trade after that that also didn't work out. And so I'm just, you know, like I had lost my initial profits and I was down a little bit. And it's like, okay, maybe now is time to stop. Right. And then they came out and they said, oh, actually, there isn't a trade deal. The administration denied it. And so I said, oh, heck yeah. Click, 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 click. And I just bought as many contracts as I could at that spot. Well, 3. So it took 3. And then it went up, and that ended up giving me like plus 400 on the day or something like that. So it was like, was I revenge trading? A little bit, yeah. I think that those losses that I made that wiped away my original winner, I think that was a bit of revenge trading. That's why I'm being so. I think I'm a little battered from it. That's because I'm looking at this spot and that's like the same thing. I'm like, well, if you try and do it for a reversal, they're gonna do this on you, right there at, that one right there. This is where I would be like, okay, let's go long, and then good, right? Or if I go try and go short, then they do this, you know? So I've just learned this is the spot where they try and screw everybody over. It's like that was the big move. Now they have to come in and screw over as many people as they can to equalize their books. And then by the time everybody's given up on it, then they will go and they will make another real move. Okay. Uh, all right. So that one already went. Well, there was some interesting action there. Did you see what happened there? Um, so they came down 129.11 half. So you are anticipating a bounce. Yeah, so here's what I saw and is maybe part of why it hit the targets that you did. We came down to '04 and bounced. And when we bounced, a large order showed up at '05. It was about an 8K order. They came down and they sold into it. 100% they sold into it. And then we had this flush lower. Then they've bounced back up. Now they haven't been able to get back above '05, but I believe it is possible that the guy that bought at '05 is still within his risk tolerance and is still long. So I think that there's a really good chance if we get above '05 that we could see a push up to that target up there around 11.5 would totally be yeah, a pretty good target. Um, but you can see there's still some wrangling around here now, right? 8K order at 04. Also on the buy. It seems like they're still buying it, but it's still doing this kind of stuff, right? I don't think I should touch it. This is an area where it's hard to catch a good spot. I don't think that it's so much that the read is bad. It's that you're going to get a read that I mean, I think that the read right now is long. There is clearly somebody is buying it, and they're fighting him. And if he wins, then these shorts are going to be very unhappy and unwind. And you're going to get a ton of retail guys stuck, I think. I suspect. But the problem isn't the read, the problem is the spots. There's no way to catch a spot. It's always going to go more than 2 ticks against you. Probably more than 5 ticks against you. So, yeah. Yeah, where did you post that note? I did not see that at all. Maybe put it in Discord or something. Oh, hit bigger misses. What's everyone's obsession with trade rooms and copying other people? Although the irony is not lost on me as I write in a trade room. Well, here, I'm going to type something. Anyways, I was telling him that one of the big reasons why I created the Discord is because I feel like that you need to have other people to interact with. But the point is should not be to try and mirror other people's traits. Of course, if you meet somebody that has a really good edge, you should absolutely try and learn some things from it. But you can't just duplicate their edge. It's never going to work. That is fraught with all sorts of issues. Mm. You see, sure enough, it's like, okay, maybe they're going to push through. Nah, they come back a little bit. Now you're getting a slightly higher low, but that just kind of makes me think maybe they're going to try and sweep down to 01 again. It's kind of funny. You can watch it. Like, I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with patterns or anything like that. It's just the market maker is sitting there thinking, okay, how can I screw over the most people? Well, what are people probably looking for right now? They're probably thinking that we made a higher swing low. So they're all going to be getting long here. So I should flush it down, you know? He may not do it. They may really want to buy, but you got to be really skeptical in this area and be looking for like the how are they going to screw you over? And you got to be careful about that because if you sit down and you say, right, so then it's like if you decide to take it long here or short here on the theory that they're going to push it back to 01, then if enough people do that, then it changes his probabilities and he says, oh, okay, I guess I should buy it up because that screws over more people. So even trying to play the mind game with them doesn't necessarily work in this area because it's it's just find out where the majority is and make them lose. And no matter what you do, you're likely to be on the side of the majority most of the time because I just don't think that there's a way to calculate it, but I don't know what it is. You can't. I don't think that you can sit down and match orders to people and figure out positions. That's the only way that I would know of doing it for certain. So there must be a way of probabilistically determining that, and they use that model to determine whether they should go, which way they should go. Hey, thank you for stopping by. I'll always love to see people. Like when I see new people on Twitch. How's it going? The share market. um, yeah, it's always nice to find people on Twitch because you know that if they found you on Twitch, that they're either just browsing the small streams or they were specifically looking for this. Most of our viewers are on YouTube, but so thank you for stopping by. See, there you go. On 1/2, they're trading into it. I suppose it wouldn't even be out of the question to trade 129 even. No, I've never used WhatsApp. Why? What would be? Why should I use it? Convince me. What is the use case? How would WhatsApp, uh, you know, benefit me? Yeah. Well, let's see here. We'll pull you up here. Top you. Yeah, you're right. Like they're very often there spots where like I will say okay, there could be a pivot here, but I'm really skeptical about taking this pivot because of X. Oh boy, I guess they're gonna go for it. I'll say, oh, I think that it could pivot here, but I'm concerned about it because of X. But then they'll end up turning around anyways and be like, should have done it. Should have done it. It happens every day, doesn't it? Almost every day. On this one, though, I don't think I. You could have gone short 04. I mean, there was a signal there at 04. But I said, hey, it's a chop zone. I think I did the right thing. Because even if you get this 129 even, like, there's a good chance that they're going to come back on you quickly, right? If we get something and we see any kind of impulse higher, I think you want to be careful about it. Because you just know that when they're going to form a spot like this, it's going to be churny for a while. Well, they didn't actually make a new low, did they? They did trade 05 though, or 00 half rather. Yeah, I'll check your channel out, and if it's relevant to what we're doing, then I'll add you. We actually got a good number of people watching on Twitch today, I think. Well, it's telling me that there's 11 people watching on YouTube, which is not what YouTube says. So I think that their account is delayed for some reason. Maybe bright. Well, I don't know if the one from 04 is that bad, but for sure. It's tough. You got to get the right kind of a signal, you know. So just as an example on this one, maybe some things that might have made this a little bit easier of a buy than we saw. So I'm looking for overextension, right? Overextension the wrong way. So here was one and this was long, right? And here was one and this one was short. Okay. That one was pretty big too. Okay. But at the same time, what was happening in the 30 year? Ah. Kind of a whole zone of overextension like that. So somebody was using all of this choppiness action to go short. But like I said, your read within the chop is hard to find your risk reward. And we still have to consider that somebody did buy it in here. Somebody did buy it in here that is not getting paid. They might be trying to just stop him out or something, but, you know, we still got to keep in mind this whole thing that if we get above 05, there's probably going to be some people really unhappy and stopping out higher. SOH. Well, yeah, if you take 04, how many ticks do you do? Yeah, and that's the problem with this trade was, okay, here was the exit, or where you would prefer to get out. But was there any real actionable signal here? And that spot, there's nothing going on there. So it's still just chopping around. I think on one like that, in the 10 year, I think that you could only go for 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 out. That's how you would have to do that one. And only allow 1, 2 on the other side. So it would work, but it's, yeah. A better way of thinking of it is this is the pattern, guys. I mean, I know I'm not trying to explain it to Algo Lover because he totally understands it, right? But for anybody else out there that's wondering why I'm saying this, this is the way that moves tend to go. 1, 2, 3, and then this, okay? And you don't know. There's like, here is the spot where we as retail people, we don't know. Somebody out there has this model that says, okay, based on our economic model, treasuries are actually worth this. And they know which way it's going to go, but we don't. We don't. We're trying to read order flow. With tears of joy, face with tears of joy, with tears of joy. That was weird that she read it differently each time. So, anyways, what they do, I honestly think that what they do is they say, okay, we have to rebalance our book here now. Love the drawing, right? I tried to make it as messy as possible to show to you guys, you know, how you don't want to trade Don't trade this. It's a bad idea. You will probably lose money here. Right? Because what are they doing? They're intentionally trying to screw you over here. This is like, maybe he's a market maker, okay? And he's looking for four ticks or whatever, and he has this big move against him, and maybe he was long going into that and he wasn't able to switch around fast enough, right? They have to equalize, or maybe they did go short. Maybe they did go short and they need to get out here, even though they think it might need to go lower based on their risk and what the firm allows them to do. They have to get out, right? He has to balance his book here some way. And if he just flips it back around, then everybody's going to go, "Oh, okay, it's a bounce," and it'll just retrace, and then he's doubly screwed. So he's got to screw around with it as much as possible within this area and get as many retail people to take trades both directions in order for him to balance his books. And I'm not even, like I say that they're trying to screw you over. I don't even think that it's so much they're trying to screw you over as that they're just trying to get as many people to take trades both directions as possible. And it just happens that the amount that they swing, I mean, look at this: 8, 6, 6, 8, 6. How many of you guys out there watching this have um, a stop greater than 6 or 8 ticks? No, none of us retail people do. So he's going to make it so that no matter which way you go, you're likely to stop out at some point. And the only way that you can really deal with that sort of an area is that you only catch one swing, which is hard to do. And I say that all of this with the keep in mind that I've gotten chopped up in that kind of an area so often, because then there's this other thing that will happen. Like yesterday, right? What happened yesterday? Big move up. Oh, big move down. So there's some people that were out there thinking that this was going to be like that. You know, it could still do this, right? That's a pattern that people look for. They screw you over in those kinds of spots. Sure. What do you mean by the PA? I'm a little skeptical about taking a trade still because the E-mini is about to open up. And, for us to have a real bounce here, you might need some selling in the E-mini to do it. And there's retail sales. It's still a really important number, right? In 45 minutes, we have a really important number. I think for me, even though I do think could be a bounce here. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. I think that for me, it's best for me to just sit on my hands until the next piece of news, because the consumer confidence number is an important number, I think. I would probably do better streaming wise number of viewers if I took a lot of trades around this time, because most people come in around the time that the E-mini opens. Is Bitcoin still as holding, isn't it? It's oh, where did it go? Did I close my Bitcoin chart? One, two, three, four. There it is, right there. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, I don't know if the hash rate really matters, but well, for short term, it doesn't really matter. But um, they're still not using it. Like They're still not using it. I think that what happened was, yeah, both of these last two sell events that they had where they briefly dipped below 10K. Oh, I suppose I need to look at this from a larger view, right? Okay. I think that this move here and this move here. I think that this sell and this sell caused a lot of people to get short, and that's how they're able to bid it up. This whole thing was a trap. I think that this whole thing is a trap. That was a bear trap. I said on my notes, which you should be able to see from last week now, you'll see where I was saying, well, they're moving down, but I would be a little bit careful here because they seem to be trying to trap people. But there's still this problem on the upside, right? You kind of look at it. This is the same thing that we were just talking about, right? We had a big move down and then an extension. What do they do now? Balance the books. Well, there's a difference. Here's the difference. Okay. The difference is that the Federal Reserve is a legally authorized public institution that is highly transparent about what they're doing and tell us exactly what they're going to do and when they're going to do it and how much money they printed, etc., etc., etc. And they make their decisions based on economic numbers to maintain maximum price stability. What does Tether do? Tether tells you that they're 100% backed by dollars, which was a big lie. So they lie to you. They lie to us that they're backed 100%. They aren't. How do they determine when to print? Whether it benefits them or not. Namely, to pump up price and trick people into buying it. And then when enough people have bought it, they tumble it down the other direction. I just don't understand. Like, even if you sit down and you say, well, Tether's never going to be brought to justice, so it can go higher. Why would you want to be involved in that? Because unless you're okay taking like a 50-80% drawdown in order to let your trade work out, you know, if you're going to trade an instrument like that, and I'm willing to trade an instrument like that, they've got to give me a good risk reward. And you simply do not have a good risk reward here at 10K. 10K is the middle, right? That would be like buying O4 here in the treasuries right now. Yeah, we think at the moment, and maybe this is just because Algo Lover has convinced me, but I suspect that we could get a little bit of a bounce here. I'm not so sure that they can go much lower. There might be a bounce, right? I can't take it long here because it's a chop zone. You don't have good risk reward. I do take some trades in ES from time to time. But the specific edges that I'm looking for in treasuries don't seem to work very well in ES. So I need some. There's some components missing. I would like to talk to. Would like to get a better idea of how Ace Trades takes his trade. Um, I just haven't had the chance to meet up with him yet. And part of that is probably just me dragging my feet, but you know, it's been busy lately, and I've been, like, I haven't even made it to the gym this week because of all the crap going on, which has me really upset because I wanted to be going every day this week. I digress. But that could maybe give me some things that could maybe make my spots in ES a little bit more reliable. But I've had a hard time trading ES. Like, I lost a bit and now I've made it back. So I'm not so sure that I have an edge in ES. Whereas in the treasuries, I'm very confident there are certain situations and types of action where I definitely have a very solid edge in treasuries. Now, sometimes I have a hard time telling where that is, but I'm getting a lot better at it. Like today, I knew we've been saying, I mean, since we started this big rant, right? That was like somewhere around here, you know? So all of this swinging back and forth, I could have been long and waiting for it to like jump out of there, but I know that it's not. I know that if I'm taking a trade that I'm probably at best getting 4 ticks. And since I made 7 and there's more opportunity later, why even bother? So I'm getting better in that respect. If I had more, and if you have something and yes, you want to share, then by all means. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate like that. But I do take some trades in the ES from time to time because the size that I can trade it on is extremely appealing to me. Extremely appealing. The lead story on CNBC today is about the Democrat candidates piling on Trump over China trade war, which was kind of interesting because they were talking about like some of them were saying like we need to go through and get rid of these, de-escalate, that's the word. De-escalate from all of these tariffs and everything like that. And I'm just sitting there like, what a load of crap. You know full well that every single one of you on stage are going to try and get something in return for taking the tariffs off. There's no way that any elected leader could go in and just take the tariffs off and give China everything that they wanted and survive like that. That would make you a pushover, and the whole rest of the world would try and run you over, and everybody knows it. So it's interesting that CNBC's that's the take that they decide to do. By the way, I never checked this morning. Predict it. Was there any movement? I suspect that they're probably not too big of a move. Well, Bernie Sanders fell a little bit, but Kamala Harris and Pete are both still kind of where they were. 24-hour. Give me that one. Yeah. Yang. Yang is still flat. Oh, Sanders actually isn't down. He's actually one point above where he was. Well, they might. Oh, Booty Judge did go up a tick. Did go up 1 cent. Sanders up 1 cent. Harris up 1 cent. Warren actually down a little bit, which is interesting. The liberals all seem to really like Elizabeth Warren, and I kind of felt like she did okay, but she didn't really do anything to hurt or nor improve her position. I thought that Kamala Harris and Pete probably helped their position a little bit. Bernie Sanders, I think, did not look good at all. And Julian Castro, that one's kind of controversial, but having thought about it a little bit and rewatched him and everything, I think that exchange that he had with Biden kind of hurt him. So, but it looks like they're going to wait for polling. So maybe next week we'll get polling and see if anybody changed their minds from that debate. I think that there probably will be some movement. Oh, there he is. I was wondering if he was going to come in and give us a good E-mini trade at the top of the hour. I guess we haven't really moved anywhere since the top of the hour, though, have we? No, not really. Not even a bar. I do 8 range bars and not even a bar. We might need to wait until consumer sentiment. If that consumer sentiment number, though, like if it hits the expectation number, that I'd say that's really positive. I'd say that's really positive. But there's a real risk that that number ends up being like way below. Because remember, we said, oh, this number is important, but it's maybe too soon to be seeing this, what you would want to see. Oh, there's something going on I missed. Yeah, that's a good question, dude. I mean, there's no way to know. The question is why are they, if it's all tether, in the past they've pumped the altcoins and this time they're not. It seems to me that they're concerned that um you know that people are giving up on Bitcoin. Okay. Yeah, mm, I can't take that one. Even if it wasn't close to the open, it doesn't line up with what I'm seeing. So I guess we wait. So I'm seeing something here in both the 30 and the 5. Well, according to all of the stats that I've got, yeah, it is. Like, here's the thing: there's not really any transactions on the blockchain happening. Like, that's the thing that I think the Tether and the Blockstream guys are actually starting to get a little bit concerned. If I was them, I would certainly be concerned that maybe the big blockers were right. Because right now, to me, it really looks like the big blockers are right. That you can't use Bitcoin because the blocks are too small, and so nobody's using it. And now you're not getting any transactions. People aren't as interested in it anymore. And so they're having a hard time even when they're pumping it up. They're not getting buyers, for them to actually make money. Like, that's the thing, is you pump it, you have to get people to buy into it to make your profit. And they're not. Well, people are always going to be putting more hash power out there, right? And that they're constantly, especially new hardware, for instance. Yeah, it's like the mining is something that almost always increases, except for in like the big crash. And I don't think that the hash rate is going to have a direct correlation to price. It's simple. It simply doesn't. I mean, the difficulty increasing does increase price, but it's a very small component of the the current valuation. And right now, we are so far above what the hash rate would justify that it doesn't matter. I mean, like, so as an example, um, my lower bound has increased because the hash rate has improved and transactions has improved a little bit. So the situation on the downside doesn't look nearly as dire as it did, but they're still overbought, right? Mm, but when you look at where the money comes from on these buys, it's all tether, 100% all tether. Now that doesn't mean that all of the tether is fake. There could be people actually putting money in. Although what we've learned from the court documents is that in most cases they're loaning the tether out to a trading firm, which is super not cool. And like, honestly, the New York Attorney General is going to go after them. I mean, they're winning. As far as I can tell from these court cases, the last spat of things, the New York Attorney General just absolutely decimated them. And if this goes to trial, it's going to be super ugly for them. And can you imagine if the feds come in and just seize everything? Because that's what will happen. If the feds come in and seize everyone, I don't think that there's anybody in the current Bitcoin market that's safe. Like, not even Coinbase is safe, because even Coinbase has had interactions with them. If there was a sell, at the very least, Coinbase might shut down. Like it be overburdened and you wouldn't be able to trade. I used to think, it's okay to keep some money on the exchange, so that it's ready and there for when you get a good buy. But now I'm thinking that if the reckoning happens, your money is probably not safe anywhere in the cryptocurrency sphere. And the problem is that you've got is when it happens, if it happens, it's going to be like that. It'd be so fast, you're not going to be able to react. I don't know. At some point, we're going to get a buy. And the thing is the funny thing is the indicator still kind of gives you some short term spots. So it's actually still useful if you want to day trade it. Although I wouldn't recommend day trading it, but it does. So for those of you guys out there new listening, if you haven't checked out the Patreon, go check out the Patreon. And for all of you that are already contributors to the Patreon, because we've had the same group of guys for like 2 years now, I super appreciate it. You guys are awesome. I don't think you guys enough, but hey, you know what? I'm giving you something in return, right? So it's not a charity, right? Mm-mm-mm. Okay, so they did touch 05. They did touch 05. Um, yeah. Oh, because I kept yapping, I never finished this thing. You see this activity here and here. So it was kind of in a spot where it's difficult to know what it's going to do, but there was somebody doing something. That might have been just equalizing books before the E-mini opened, but there was definitely some larger player doing something in there. Hmm. Hmm. Just kind of reading here through some media about the debate. I'm still kind of interested to see what the media narrative coming out of it is. Hmm. Yeah, Castro to Biden. People apparently really picked up on that exchange. I kind of like ignored it because I knew what he was talking about, and I'm like, well, he didn't. I don't think he contradicted himself. He's like trying to explain to you what he meant. It did kind of make Castro look small. And the fact checkers are saying that Castro was wrong. Yep, he was planning on going on the attack. Not for long though. Castro tried denying later what was obvious. He had planned to go on the attack before the night started in order to boost his flailing campaign and make Biden's age an issue. It's true. But his age is an issue. Like, Biden's going to collapse at some point. The longer this goes and the closer to decision time this gets, the more and more that people are going to look at Biden and be like, I don't know if this is a good idea. Okay, so now I'm getting another one in the 5-year. So the E-mini is testing lower. Oh, I should move this down so I can see. There's a little bit of selling on the open. It's sold on the open almost every day this week, hasn't it? But it's not a very strong down impulse. So we could maybe, if they actually decide to buy it up, we could see Treasuries push down again. And that this spot in the 5-year would make sense for a short. Although I'd say I'm still kind of the opinion that I should wait until the news, even though it might make a good move. Okay, so there was the buy in the E-mini that didn't really, well, it did. Treasuries ticked down too. And they ticked down too. I really need one of those boom things so I can lay back like this and still have the microphone right here. You know what I mean? Sometimes sitting up here like this gets a little old. Okay, so they're gonna try and push the. Well, they're coming back to the open and having a little bit of trouble with that price. Uh, Given the situation, though, it's pretty likely that they go and test the high. There's a lot of down movement from the overnight that they could unwind. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm tired. I'm not tired. I feel like really energized, and I feel like I got a really good night's rest last night. Potentially inappropriate comments for your channel will be held for you to review. Learn more. That's okay. Let's go and look at some stuff, though. Um, did that? No new comments. But I want to see how many people were looking at the debate. Oh, 47. We had 47 people come into the debate. You know, we only reached like a peak of 5 viewers, but we had so much fun. And I went on like some big crazy rants. Like the one that I probably got carried away a little bit was Beto talking about gun control. Because I'm not trying to say like, of course I'm a Second Amendment supporter because I'm a conservative person, but I'm not trying to say like this is the way that it should be or anything like that. I'm just trying to explain to Beto or his supporters why what he's saying is incredibly irresponsible and dumb. And you know, I got a little bit carried away, but man, Beto said some really dumb things last night. You know, so he was talking about, yeah, we need to take away your AR-15, and somebody somebody on Twitter or some representative or something said, "Hey, if you want my AR-15, it's waiting for you." And Beto got really upset about that and said that that was a death threat. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're threatening to go in and steal somebody's property that is directly has to do with their ability to defend themselves. You saying that you're going to take away their guns, that's a death threat towards them, not the other way around. Them saying it's waiting for you, that's not a death threat, that's just a warning. And yeah, the whole thing is crazy. Like, look, if you want Republicans to turn out in droves, and maybe even a lot of moderates to go their way. Oh, there's Uzi. How come you didn't say hi earlier, Uzi? Come on. Oh, you took it short at 3015, huh? I don't know. I really want to follow you, but I'm not seeing increased activity on the level 2. And I'm really not sure if the E-mini is like a sell today. Yeah. Well, that's the thing is like, it did go back on us, didn't it? Yeah. No, you're right, Uzi. Like, I think one of the things that people don't understand is they say, well, what's wrong with better background checks? Right. What's wrong with the registration? And the problem is there's nothing wrong with good background checks and things like that. It's just that they always try and stick something in there. There's always a poison pill, you know? And one of the big poison pills is that it creates a registry of where everybody's firearms are, which is totally not okay, right? In fact, remember a couple of years ago where I think it was in New Jersey where they released the list of all of the gun owners to the public? Like that's scary stuff, you know? That shouldn't be allowed. So that's why it's a problem. Because I think well, most gun owners would agree that yeah, we should keep them out of the hands of crazy people. Yeah. Um. So I don't know, but I tell you what, if you want Republicans to turn out in droves and tons of moderates to come out in Republican, then push the gun issue, Beto. Like what he's doing is active damage to the Democrat Party. Make no mistake about it. Active damage to the Democrat Party. That might be true. Well, they think that it's like there'll be a buyback program and everybody will just kindly give their guns away. And then if you happen to be caught for a crime and you still have them, then you'll be in extra trouble or something like that, you know? Or if somebody reports it and then the cops will come and get it. But yeah, there's no registry for them to go and find them all. You're totally right. How many ticks has this been in? This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. It's, yeah. There's certainly no way that anybody in Utah, Idaho, and all of these other western state rural areas, there's no way that those people would give up guns. No way. You know, it's an interesting thing. We were talking yesterday that a lot of political ideology, especially whether somebody is progressive or conservative, has to do with personality. I ain't got any. My market insider tip is wait until after staying for the gun law debate. No, my market insider tip is don't trade until after the consumer sentiment news. Oh, okay, sure. You want to buy them back, but as long as it's not compulsory, I suppose. But anyways, so whether you're conservative or progressive does have a lot to do with your personality. Okay, but whether you are big government or small government, it is not. And that's where a lot of the interpart. Okay, so they pushed that '05 finally. So let's see if it unwinds back up to 11 half or not. Man, I'm so distracted today. Okay, if you live out east, like I lived in New York for a month. When I worked for Goldman Sachs, they put us in a 6-week training program, and I lived out of a hotel next to the Empire State Building for 6 weeks. Okay. And one of the things that really was jarring to me was that government was everywhere. You can't go anywhere in New York these days without seeing police somewhere and security people. And I mean, they've done a lot to make things safe there. I feel like New York is like Disneyland for adults. Like that's the kind of atmosphere that you get is like this is this thing that was built specifically for people, and we've made it extremely safe and it's highly engineered for its purpose. That's what New York City has become since they got rid of the crime there, right? But to do that, government is everywhere, and they do everything for the city, right? Like government is super important out east. Then when you come over here to the west, okay, government is a roadblock. If you're a rancher and you want to feed your cattle and you have to work together with the Bureau of Land Management, and they're an impediment to everything that we do. And it's a real problem. And there's all of these things like there's these laws. You can't collect your own rainwater over here. Sorry about that. I just had a couple of lost frames there. You can't collect your own rainwater on your home because that's illegal. They need the runoff to go out into the streams. Can you believe that? Well, you got that right, especially for small business owners. Yep. There's a lot more small businesses out here out in the Midwest and the West. Or let's call it the Intermountain West. Okay. It's an impediment. And so that's why you have this huge regional difference, right? People in the East, they love big government because that means their city is nicer. And everywhere else, we don't like big government because we know that makes our lives harder. It's really more of a core versus periphery issue, right? The core, almost all conflict in the past, 300 years have been conflicts between core and periphery. Even the American Revolution can be thought of as America, the periphery, liberating itself from the oppressive core, Great Britain. And you're seeing that happen in America today. You talk crap again when it comes to bad land management. Well, I just know that all of those farmers, they don't like what the way that the Bureau of Land Management does. And everybody that's like at the state legislature thinks that we could do a better job than the feds could at managing our own land. And I agree with them. Anyways, I live and work in California, and it sucks being a small business owner. Oh, I bet. Well, especially in some of those cities like San Francisco. Man, like there was this, I remember this lady on Twitter, she had like a big rant. She posted a video where she said that she had to close her business because like people were pooping in front of her store, like downtown San Francisco. It was just ridiculous. But that's just the way that it's going right now. It's a core versus periphery issue, and what's happening is that there's a lot of laws being passed at the federal level now that are being pushed on to the periphery. You see, before the federal government didn't have a whole lot of strong power, and so individual states just did what they were going to do, and it wasn't a problem, right? Now that you're making big government more important, then you run into those issues. Can you imagine the sorts of issues that you're going to have with core versus periphery issues if, for instance, government was in charge of healthcare? What the hell? That's crazy, right? She should have sprayed the sidewalks with her AR-16 to keep the poopers off. No. Like she was like, I'm a liberal person. I've had a business here for like 15 years, a successful business. It was like a hair salon or something like that. But now because people are pooping, she can't get clients to go down there, and she was closing her business. Anyways, can you imagine like healthcare out in the country is a little bit different from what you got to do for healthcare in the city. It is. It's different. There's those differences, and you're trying to say that the federal government is going to be able to handle those all correctly. Yeah, it's a core versus periphery issue, and that's what has largely to do with whether people believe in big government or small government. That's where you get things like in Portland, you have people that are actually, they tend to be Well, maybe not poorly and properly, but in that state, even though it tends to vote Democrat, there's still small government. There's small government Democrats out there. There's just not very many of them. So kind of interesting. I don't know how we got that. Where was there some way to tie that back into gun law? I don't know. Mm-mm. How far will ZB pull back? Well, we were saying that if you get above '05, that we could have a pretty big pullback, right? I think Algo Lover was saying 11.5. There's certainly the VWAP at '09 looks close. I still think when you look at the price action here, it's still being very difficult. So you notice up 2 ticks, down 2 ticks, up 4 ticks, down zipper area, new high, down. And through all of that, the level 2 was spiking. There's a lot of stuff that has to be given over to the state rather than the overall government laws that may work in California, may not work at all. And totally. Well, I mean, let's take it a step further. Laws that work for Germany may not work for England. That's pretty simple. Like, this is a problem with the European Union. It's not like a European Union is a bad idea. It's the way that they're doing it. They're using it. Honestly, this is what's going on. And this is what has always been going on for the last 200 years, is Germany is the European core. Germany is the core. France is a little bit of the core because they got a few big cities, okay? That is the core. England is really kind of the periphery, but they have their own core too. But Germany does not have everything that Germany needs all by itself. They have to trade with other people. And so all of the wars of the past 200 years, going back to the 30 Years' War and everything like that, was basically Germany trying to force their periphery countries to do what they wanted. And they finally succeeded by creating a European Union that gives them power and forces these other countries to do what they want. That's what's going on over there. And I think it's totally justified that England should leave the European Union. It's not that having a union between these different states wouldn't be a good thing, and having like a trade union wouldn't be a good thing, and even free movement of people between states would be a good thing, assuming that they actually, held the borders on the edges. But come on. They're pushing things on the UK that aren't good for the UK, and the UK should have a bigger say in that. They're trying to create a federal government that is oppressive. It works at everything. But the reason I say that is my opinion is, and one of my big philosophies is that the closer that you can get the power to the people, and the more distributed that you can make that power, the better. So it's not good for federal government to have a lot of power. There are specific situations where federal government is going to be better at something, and then you give it to them. But those are like necessary evils. It's not a good thing to give everything to the federal government or to have larger governments. You notice anything on ZN yet? Well, it certainly came up, didn't it? Yeah. We were saying you could have taken it. I mean, you would have had to have taken it down at '01, down at the low. You could have taken it. But remember, we were saying he was choppy down there, right? That would have been a really hard trade to have kept and held. I had a Canadian in my ER department. She loved the services she got. She hates the Canadian system. Well, I'm told from my UK friends that they're not incredibly enamored with the UK health system either. That's the thing that's really frustrating about healthcare in the United States is hold on. There you go. No, I thought that aside from the fact that you were screwed if you didn't have insurance, and that it was easy to lose insurance and you had to pay so much money for Cobra. Okay. But other than that, I think that people were really happy with healthcare before Obamacare. It was that one specific thing. Like we're really, it's, I think they could potentially move higher again, but it's, uh, that move right there might have been taking profits ahead of the news, right? We got 5 more minutes. So let's see. And I kind of feel like, yeah, I think 11.5 is a good target. Um, and we've developed a spot, but those numbers are might be meaningless here in a bit. So let's see what happens. Anyways, but I mean, the thing is like, I think most people like their doctor, right? I think that most people think that we have lots of good innovations. Right. Oh, that's right. The things where it was like, we didn't cover that, or that was a pre-existing condition. The thing that irks me about the pre-existing conditions, not that they're wrong, that the situation was bad, but I think that it is misrepresented, because if you had a pre-existing condition, that just meant that you had to pay the higher price for a year. Yeah. Although I have to say, it took a lot of coercion for them to get it, didn't it? So I'm still a little, I don't know, but it doesn't matter. I mean, let's see what happens with the news, right? Anyways, I mean, they really were trying to completely transform the healthcare system because of one specific problem and I really don't like what they did. Um, you know, I would like to see. I am a proponent. Here's another thing that I say, and this maybe applies to government, but this is, well, I always talk about this with video games. I've told you guys this before, right? It is better to make small tweaks. You sit down and you say, okay, we don't like our healthcare system. We would like it to be here. Yeah, I'll check you later. It was a good trade. I mean, I totally believed in it too. I just knew that it wasn't a good spot for me to trade. So it was a good call, though. If we were swinging, maybe we could do that. Yeah. I don't know if it would be worth it if you were swinging, but anyways, I think that you want to do incremental things, because one of the problems is that you could have a problem, could be hiding other problems or making other problems worse, things like that. And when you come in and you try and transform an entire system, it's very difficult for you to know how to set the properties and things like that. Like, this is something that drives me crazy about Overwatch. There you go. Have you guys played this game? They'll come in and there will be a certain meta, and people are like, well, we don't like the meta. And so they'll say, okay, snipers are too powerful, so we are going to nerf all of the snipers and we're going to buff all of the dive characters. And then it's like snipers are completely useless. And if you were a sniper, it's like the game's not fun anymore. And they do this all the time. Their balancing philosophy is so terrible. Here's what you do. You make the smallest change that is obvious. Make the smallest change that is obvious first. Okay? Oh, okay. This character, they're able to get away too easily. Widow's able to get away too easily. Let's increase the number of seconds on her reload on her grappling hook, for instance, would be a change that you could make, right? Make that one change and then see where it stands, you know? And then once you've done that for 2 weeks, then you can adjust all of the other things to compensate for that change, and then let that play out for a little bit, right? That's what we should be doing with what we should have done with healthcare. Like, the biggest problem is the costs because of being sued, and two, the lack of competition over state lines. Those are like the two obvious problems in the market itself. Fix those two things first, then see. Okay, so here's the news. They've pulled. I'm seeing. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to come in here and fix all this stuff around again. They do appear to be moving down. Okay, the number was better than expected, 92.0 versus 90.4. It is moving down. They are below 5 again. We could potentially take a short here. I'm a little... Okay. So that was a little bit of a reflex. I hope that this one works out. Okay. I don't like that. There was a big stack there at 05, and it was there for a second, and then it disappeared. And I could have gotten filled at 05. Okay. No. Pulled, but they didn't go. Okay. Some absorption at 05 now. That's good. E-mini. Oh, what was the inflation expectation? 2.8 versus 2.7. Well, that definitely should push treasuries down. Well, why the E-mini doesn't seem to be too happy about it, though. And business inventories were even better than expected. Spot 4 versus spot 3. There might be some more about this news, though, that we can't see in the headline numbers. Downtick. I hate it when you get that clicky clicky. Hey, Ron, you are super late, bro. So I hate when you go, it ticks into a price and you get that because that to me is like it should move, and then often when it does that particular one, it doesn't. They seem to be pulling it over half. I'm surprised they haven't tried ticking down yet. But I guess because of the last attempt to down tick it, there would be a little cautious. And here, it doesn't look like they're ready to down tick in the 5-year. If this was 200 and this was 800 or 1,000, okay, then maybe we would down tick. Woo, look at that. We made 04 go offer there for a second. Oh, but somebody's buying 04. I don't know about this one, guys. I'm not seeing anything coming over Twitter yet, any kind of analysis about the number. I don't know. What should I call you? What would be a better welcome back, my colleague? Is that what should be super business professional about it? I'm a white guy. We call people bro. That's just what we do, bro. I don't even really call people bro in real life, so I don't know why I say that. It's funny, man. See, it's curious to me, the E-mini not showing a real propensity to bid. They're still hitting in it to 04. Yeah, I call people dude. I used to say dude a lot, or man. Come on, man. Yeah, it's interesting to me. Apparently, the whole man thing was not a thing before the 70s, and apparently it was like kind of a semi-popular thing. But then after what's that movie about Vietnam? Oh man, the one where they play Flight of the Valrikis and everything like that. And then there's the hippie photographer guy at the end that's like, man, all the time. And then apparently that became a more popular thing. Oh, I was just misunderstood. Yeah. Okay, 5K bid at 04. Well, we've seen bids here in this area between 05 and 04 This is the third one, and in the past they were 8K. Okay, that one was 7,500. And every time that we've done that, we've kind of fallen through quite a bit afterwards. It's us against the man, right? I don't know. It seems like they should be able to go lower here. I'm surprised. 5906. Well, that's a lot of room though. Uzi. I was just about to call him bro. Oh man. See, this news, this number. My read is that it should be bad. Yeah, you're totally fine. It should be bad for treasuries because inflation expectations were higher than expected. The consumer sentiment was higher than expected. That should be a sell for treasuries. But the E-mini is not buying on that news. It should be a buy for the E-mini, but they're not buying. I think I should. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna try and get out of this. If I could please. Please, I want out. Come on, 173 contracts. We can get 173 contracts to sell. Yeah. Well, something's going on here that's not in my favor, so I want to get out. If I can get out of break even, I'd be really happy about it. 126 in line. Okay. Maybe now they're going to push down. That action is just not what I want to see. Like if we have an iceberg at 04 and they bust it, they shouldn't come back up through it and then go up. That's not normal. Well, they might sell now. I don't know. Well, there's two sides of this. I don't really know what's going to happen now. I feel really conflicted about this because I'm worried that the trade is going to turn out. But the honest truth is I feel really anxious about it, and I don't really know what's going to happen now. It was not action that I understood. Some buying at 04. Now we've traded on both sides of it, and the E-mini continues to go down. What? Germany to ban Facebook's Libra and create a state blockchain, says Spiegel? Okay. So Germany's going to be the first one to create a state blockchain? Is that, well, the first Western country to create a blockchain? That's going to be interesting. That would be funny if the German blockchain became the world reserve currency. The Germans would finally be happy. Yeah, see here, there's still, my short was at 04, right? Gosh, I can't tell. Every time you get a down tick and I'm like, oh, it's going to go, and then it takes back up. They're really toying with us here, aren't they? But why is E-mini selling? Well, there's definitely a future for the blockchain. I don't know if there is a future for the Bitcoin blockchain. I mean, from my perspective, any kind of state cryptocurrency is a negative for Bitcoin. Let's see, now that this news is hit, let's see if we get some selling in the E-mini, because they've got a bit of a head and shoulders sort of a pattern forming over here. So if they fall through 10.3, we could have a little bit of a move, you know? But now they're finally offering a little bit at 0.4, but 0.3 is still stacking up like nope. That could be a lure though. I don't know. Well, they're hitting an. Uh, I think you mean the E mini. Like these are the E mini, like electronic mini S&P 500 futures. So when we say E mini, we're talking about the S&P 500 basically. So we've sold down, but why is equities appear bearish? Look at that. Okay. Oh man. Well, let's zoom this in here a little bit. See, there's a little bit of there's an orange candle there. The University of Michigan survey shows depressed Democrats weighing down sentiment. How do they figure? Let's read the Zero Hedge story. After August's collapse, the University of Michigan's sentiment survey was expected to bounce a little, most notably in a rebound of expectations. A little, it did. Oddly, the headline beat expectations handily, 92 versus 90 expected, but both current and future expectations disappointed expectations. The current is 106.9 versus 107.8 expected, and the future expectations was 82.4 versus 85.2. Interesting. The data do indicate that consumers anticipate that the Fed will cut interest rates next week, with net declines in interest rates more frequently expected at present than any time since the Great Depression in February 2000, Great Recession in February 2009. These expectations are likely to diminish the impact on spending from a quarter-point rate cut, but if rates remain unchanged, it may increase negative reactions by consumers. So this is doing a very good job of explaining why we're seeing the action that we are. It appears that the weakness is driven by Democrats. And when we come in and we look at it, oh my. There was a rebound in consumer sentiment by Republicans, but not by Democrats. So it's totally what people have been saying. Hey Rexbot, thank you for watching us on DLive and leaving, making a comment. I stream to multiple platforms and most of my viewers are on YouTube, but we like to have viewers on every platform because that can increase visibility. So and I like to meet you guys and know more about you. So thanks for saying hi. Well, that was super interesting. So let's keep reading the story. Can I go back? Yes. Okay. While a recession is not anticipated in the year ahead, neither is a resurgence in personal consumption. The outlook for consumption is a slower but positive growth, keeping the expansion going for another year. Buying conditions for cars surprisingly jumped in preliminary September data as housing and large appliances slipped lower. Well, that's interesting because I've been kind of looking at that I might have to buy a car. Consumer expectations for inflation were mixed, with price gains over the coming years seen at 2.8, up from 2.7, while 5-year estimates fell to 2.3, matching the lowest on records to 1979. The reading for the first part of the month is the first since Donald Trump increased tariffs on Chinese goods September 1st, expanding them to cover more consumer products as officials in Beijing retaliated with levies of their own. In fact, after reading that, Uzi, I'm kind of sitting here thinking maybe that piece of news was a buy. Because even though the number was better than expected, and I was thinking that any kind of a bounce would be good, what we are seeing is that consumer sentiment, especially among Democrats, has been Yeah. The consumer sentiment among Democrats has taken a severe hit. So, and look, they're holding 04 half. They've traded into 05. 05 again is still kind of the spot, and considering that we saw iceberg buying at 04, if I don't see icebergs on the other side around 05 or 05 half, we might see a stop run. IQ is long, huh? We could see a stop run. I'm not seeing, I personally am not seeing a level 2 signal. I would not necessarily expect to in this area. From what price? Did you get like 28? Down tick. So there's a lot of software that you're seeing. So you might have to be more specific, but the numbers, the thing that's the most important, this is Jigsaw Day Trader. And by the way, guys, keep an eye out on Monday because I'm going to have a video about the software that I use and why I use it. And we've been given a code. So there's always a thing where, wow, yeah. No, Jigsaw has always had a thing where if you refer somebody with you send them the email that both people get $15 off, but we got a referral link, so that makes it a lot easier for people. So if you're interested in doing Jigsaw and you learned about it from our channel, we'll give you the referral link on Monday. And I'm also going to post up, I think I'm going to do a little bit of work on it today, I guess, but the export levels thing, I'm going to spruce that up a little bit, and I will include that in the video too. So I guess I have a lot of work to do this weekend, editing it and some code and everything, but should be doable. So keep an eye out for that on Monday morning. But Jigsaw's, I mean, oh, now they're going down. Good grief, guys, you jinxed it by going long. Well, it's okay because I think that my initial read of the news was wrong. So I think that we just missed this one. Let's see if it goes for a new low or what it does. It's kind of moving the way that it moved down there. Look at how it did it in the 5-year. So it's not moving against anybody. They're just letting it drop. Which when I see that kind of a thing, I'm always a little suspicious when it comes out of slow action. There might be something out there that we don't know about. There might be, hard call. In fact, if I had held on to that trade at 04, okay. Well, that wasn't too bad on the amount of risk that you took. And I'm possibly seeing a reversal here, by the way. Man. Yeah, I don't think that there is any way that if I had held that I would have held that. Because when it went bid at 04 half, I think that I would have gotten really stressed out about it. Now, that said, they did leave a lot of liquidity behind at 03 half when they ticked down, didn't they? Curious that I don't really see it super strongly on my chart here, but it's definitely there, I guess. So the other software that you see in the chart, that's NinjaTrader. Okay. And then people have been asking me about the bot that reads things out. And if you scroll way, way, way up in the chat log, I have the link to where I put that in GitHub. But we need to make some changes to that. It's not, you would really have to know what, not, you wouldn't have to really know what you're doing, but you would have to write some node code to, to adjust it to your own channel's setup. So it's not really something that other people could use it very effectively right now. But anyways, well, that spot in my back is moving a lot better now. So there's that, which is nice. Oh, I had a thought that I didn't finish when I was saying there's probably no way that I would have held on through '04. But let's just say that in some bizarro world I had held on to that. I'm still skeptical. I see a probable possibility that they go for new low and maybe even down to 30, but I'm thinking the way that this has been ticking and the difficulty that it's had that I probably should just be happy with the 4. That catch by zero hedge is really interesting. I wonder if anybody's catching on to that. In fact, I'm gonna just go and try submitting it and seeing if it lets me. Yep, I'm on Twitch and I'm on YouTube. So the majority of my viewers are on YouTube. We have about a dozen guys or so that come in and watch every day. Oh, they're still down ticking in. They're having a 3K offer at 0.5 might be a good. Darn, didn't get filled. I was just a little bit too late on the click. I could possibly even sell into 0.5 because I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 ticks here, you know? Well, there's an iceberg at the bottom. That's curious. Jeez. 3K there as well. I think I should just say that I missed it because I don't know where it's going to go, and I was only looking for a few ticks on the break of the low. Well, and let me submit it, so we'll see if anybody. Oh, you were trying to get short at 25? Yeah, did you see? I was like, okay, I want this price right here. And I tried selling it, and just as I clicked it, down ticked, and I was 1,000 in line. I would have gotten filled by now, but that was my fill. I would need to wait. Okay. See, I only wanted like one. I only wanted one tick. You couldn't even give me one measly tick. Notice some of these targets down below us are stacking up a little bit. It's luring there at 05. No. Hmm. What's this? So it's a little. It's slightly unusual for it to tick back and forth that many times at 05 like that and kind of fight there. Okay. 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 So they tried hitting into 005 and there was an iceberg there holding it. I don't know. If you were a bear, I would be sitting there being like, well, geez, let's go after him. Yeah. Can they pull evens? There's going to be at least a little bit of an iceberg at an evens number, right? So if they just blast through that, that would be really something else. Okay. Well, they're all kind of lined up for it to maybe happen, but and the E-mini's still ticking up pretty good. In fact, they're going to go for that high now. Seeing some people selling into it, a little trickle. Actually, a couple of large orders, in fact, that sold into it. Okay. Strong offer on the downtick. Only 17.19 absorbed at evens. Okay. Yeah, I think so. There might be more in this, but I'm a little nervous about it still. And I just wanted to be able to say that I made 8 ticks again. So I made 8 ticks again, guys. Not bad. And we had some calls that were okay that we just didn't take because we were overly cautious. But I think that well, there it goes. Yeah. Wow. So now I'd be getting out at 30 half. Look at that. I thought, man, well, that's interesting. When I took that trade at O half, that move that we just got down like that was what I was expecting to see. So when we traded at 129 and we ticked back up without much fanfare, I kind of thought that it wasn't going to happen. But I guess I just needed to be more patient. Man, that sucks. Because that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6? Yeah, you got to take the 6. Maybe 7. Maybe you could get the 7. Oh well. I'm seeing the reads. I'm being a little overly cautious, and because of the way that it's behaving and ticking, I think that being cautious is smart. So I'm okay with it. But I could have been short from 04, right? I mean, that was where my original trade was. It was up from 04 half, and it wasn't quite going, so I gave up on it. But it sure went, didn't it? And like I said, I don't think there's any way that I would have held that. But just for the sake of argument, if I had held 04, and then I had seen the way that it had come down here into the 01 area, yeah, I would have tried to hold that for a new low. And maybe I would have gotten out early still like I just did, but there was some good opportunity there, wasn't there? That's the point. Close enough for government work. We never saw the upside target though of 11.5, did we? I really was thinking, Algo Lover, when we had a problem there at 04 and there was icebergs holding it up and they couldn't go, I thought, you know what? Maybe they're going to go for the 11.5. And based on the way that that trade just happened, there was absolutely somebody, those icebergs that we saw that concerned us, that was somebody was for real was buying it. And the reason that we saw that move down there was because because he was puking. So it kind of sucks that I had a good read, but I didn't have the mental fortitude to stick with it. But there's a little bit of luck involved in those sorts of things, isn't it? As long as we have the general direction right and the spots right, I think I should be happy about it, you know? And we did. I was reading that overall that we should be selling. I took 3 trades, they were all sells. The spots that I took were good spots. I still made 8 ticks. It's cool, right? And I would say, although I have been a few moments where I tried dinking around with 8 multiple contracts, I think we've done pretty well this week. I think that if I had been trading live, that I would have been happy with the results. So maybe next week, or well, maybe sometime this month. The further it gets into the month, the harder it gets, right? But maybe we could consider putting on a little bit of risk. Am I gonna go again? I don't know. Another thing I want to point out was that when we were down ticking going into the low, they were stacking pretty aggressively. Yeah, it has been a good week. But they were stacking like 3,000 on top of it, right? So when they're doing that, there's a really good chance that somebody's going for the low. Now, they could be going for the low to try and flip it around, but in this particular context, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, does it? Because we had news, they're interpreting the news as good, I guess. And then the larger action is just negative, you know? That's going to be, that's not I want to flip it. And especially on a Friday, like, why would you try and flip it on a Friday like that? Yeah. Well, my take on it is that after the news came out, I mean, we were up there at the top at the news, right? 04 just happened to be the spot that we were able to catch. Maybe if we had been able to sell, click right on the news and sold it at 06 half. But at that point, the levels that we had kind of, well, not necessarily the levels that we had, but the biases that we had that maybe we were in an uptrend or whatever go away, right? They sold on the news, it goes down. Either that news is going to reverse or it's going to continue down. But you can't sit down and say that we're in an uptrend for sure, right? So we would prefer to sell it. And it just gave us a little bit too hard of a time. It took us a good 30 minutes to finally fall through. They're going. Well, and that kind of gets back into with Ace, because the signals that he was getting was shorts, and I said, well, maybe we should just wait until after the news. And then the news came out and they were still kind of selling. Okay. Oh, you know what? I just realized that I didn't turn the sound up, so you guys can't even hear that. uh, I'm sorry, guys, if you didn't know what people were saying, and because of the bot, I apologize. I feel dumb now that I've had that down all day. Ugh, so silly, guys. So silly. Anyways, so I'm kind of wondering, if Ace saw along in this action, I would think it could maybe be worth taking along because there's still a good 10 points of room on the upside if they go for it. If not more than that. Although it may be the case because we're getting a little bit of VAR shock, some of the upside potential in the E-mini is probably going to be a little limited, right? So I don't think that they're too happy about interest rates rising by like half a point or whatever we're doing right now. Evens still going, so I guess we could have gotten 8. Well, now they're going to go through 28. That was fast. This is turning into crazy town. I really wish that I was involved in this, but oh man, that's a good place to get diced up, isn't it? That one on the upside was a no signal again. See how when they came up there to 31.5, there was like no level 2 activity? That might be because they just didn't stay there for very long, but even when it stayed there for like a good 2 or 3 minutes, there wasn't a lot of level 2 activity. There wasn't a lot of interest in that price.
YouTube, algo lover, to our point, no they didn't bid up into 129, 115 before going offered, but the point was to be monitoring for an offer off the bounce okay hand.
Sure. You know, and I didn't quite understand that, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I mean, at the time I was paying attention to it could go up to 115.
YouTube, algo lover, oh, and ZN target does trade winking face.
Yep, they did trade it into 28. I mean, from my chart, okay, when you get these runs like we had on the way up, okay, these might not necessarily be 100% single prints, but that 14.5 is going to be a key level, right? We already blew through 129 and 04 half. That's probably why there was so much trade there and people trying to buy it because they thought that single print area essentially was going to hold. It didn't. Now there's a good chance that they could trade 14. I don't know if they're going to do it today. That would be a really big move for a Friday, wouldn't it? Especially with the news that we've had and everything else. But I would not put it outside of the range of possibilities at this point, you know? But Algo Lovers was only said 28. He's been doing pretty good with those numbers. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. It's going to be really interesting to watch, guys. Oh, I would like to be involved in this. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Well, you know what? I'm done feeling sorry for myself. Made 8 ticks. Sure, could have made 1624, but that's okay. I think that I made some good decisions given the action that we were having. There was no way that I could possibly have known that after all of that churn that they would have moved so aggressively. So whatever. So like I said, I intend on having a video out on Monday, so keep an eye out for that. Probably put it around the time that the e-mini opens because that's when most people are on. So keep an eye out for that, and I will have a good weekend, of course. I'll see you Monday, and in the meantime,
YouTube, algo
oh,
lover, when I post, it's always the same, if this, then anticipate that, or else okay hand cut and paste it on a notepad etc. So you can
yeah,
track, review above or distractions thumbs up.
sure. Well, I have a hard time with it just because, a lot of the targets are beyond what I'm able to really look at for my risk reward. But that's the main reason why I don't write it down too much. But I still enjoy talking about it. So, okay. So, yeah, I'll see you guys on Monday. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.